Imagine if you were a math genius and you just lose all your fucking genius. I, I don't know. I don't know what the fuck I do. That's some shit to be smart your whole life and then end up fucking becoming a fucking complete moron. Tell me the story, please. I'm very curious.
Tell you how many seconds you've lived.
Okay. Listen to this crazy shit that this woman is saying that he could do.
Name the cube root of this. He'd be able to say the answer in just 5 seconds.
That's fucking impossible.
Enormously long calculations in his head within seconds.
Impossible.
And then his gift began to fade. This is the sad story of how a boy lost his genius. There was nothing in his upbringing that could have predicted this level of genius. Zero was born in a small town.
He was born in Vermont. Bro was born in Vermont. No wonder nobody knew who this nigga. Wait, did people know this nigga? I'm so sorry. Let me just shut the fuck up. But yeah, he lived in fucking Vermont. Shit, I think he was bound to lose that genius.
On September 1st, 1804. He grew up on a farm where his father Abia worked as a craftsman to support his large family of 9 children, 2 of whom died after he settled in Cabot. As Zero described in his memoir, which he wrote in the third person, his parents were plain people, and in regard to the early years of this their son, they considered him to be the most backward of any of their children. Zero's parents didn't think he was very smart at all. That is, until one day, just before his 6th birthday, his dad heard him muttering to himself,
5 times 7 are 30.
What the fuck? Hold on. So you're telling me this nigga just blurted out a math problem he's never probably fucking heard of? He was 6. He never even heard of this shit before.
5. 6 times 8 are 48. 13 times 97 are 1,261.
His father was dumbfounded. How could he possibly know all that at just 6 years of age with only 6 weeks of schooling? Word soon spread of his unusual talent, and his dad took him around the country to show off his skills. The president of Dartmouth College, John Wheelock, offered to take Zero under his wing. A group of influential men from Boston offered to raise $5,000 to educate Zero under their direction.
He doesn't need it though.
Sure.
Fuck, he didn't need that shit.
Abia rejected their offers because he wasn't willing to give up control over Zero. Abia was determined to find fame and fortune abroad, at the expense of abandoning his wife and 6 other children. In the spring of 1812, he and 8-year-old Zero traveled from Boston to England, where newspapers were filled with stories about his son's peculiar talent. They made their way to London, where they were greeted by royalty, all of whom were astounded by the boy's remarkable abilities. Sadly, little attention was paid to Zero's formal education.
Oh my
The extent
god.
of his learning.
But did he even need it for real? I mean, obviously you don't need something to learn something. You can't just... It's not gonna pop up fucking thin air into your brain. Like, you do need to look at some shit to maybe let some shit circulate. Like it's not gonna happen that way, but he was fucking a genius.
Patrons. The public who flocked to see his extraordinary skills paid a mere 1 shilling or 22 cents for admission. This was not enough to cover their living expenses. For extra cash, his dad decided to sell Zero's portrait. This is the only drawing we have of him, and if you look closely, there's something peculiar about it. Zero was...
I was about to say something, but oh shit, he has an extra pinky. He has an extra finger. Ew.
Born with an extra digit on each hand and foot. He got the extra fingers surgically removed. They were able to successfully sell this drawing, which led Zero's father to believe they could also sell a memoir about his son.
Whoa. The number of seconds in 2,000 years was required. He was able to find the number of seconds in 2,000 years? Hold on. I'm sorry. A list of questions answered by the author when a child. In order to furnish those who never saw the writer while exhibited with a further opportunity to understand the nature of his gift, the following questions answered by him are inserted. They are not all, nor perhaps the most extraordinary ones that he has solved. They are such as he can say they were proposed to him. They are given as specimens of the character of questions proposed to him, in the time employed in answering them, and the times employed in answering them. Other questions will be found interspersed interspersed through the memoir, particularly on page 37, 38, 39 from the London Prospectus in Boston on his first visit in the fall of 1810. The number of seconds in 2,000 years was required. That's crazy. So is he saying that he did this first, then this, then got the last answer? So days in 2,000 years is 730,000. Hours is 17,520,000. And minutes is 1,051,200,000 minutes. And in seconds is 63 billion. 72 million seconds. Allowing that a clock strikes 156 times in one day, how many times will it strike in 2,000 years? 113,880,000 times. What is the product of 225 multiplied by 1,223? 14,951,775. Just saying these fucking words makes me feel like a fucking genius. Like saying this shit perfectly, that makes me feel like I'm fucking smart. What is the square of 1,449? What? This is the square of that? Suppose I have a cornfield in which are 7 acres, having 17 rows on each acre, 64 hills on each row, 18 ears on a hill, and 150 kales on the ear. How many kales on the cornfield? 9,139,200. In Portsmouth, New Hampshire, June 1811, admitting the distance between Concord and Boston to the 65 miles, to be 65 miles, how many steps must I take in going this distance, allowing that I go 3 feet?
Which would include a walk?
3 feet a step. The answer is 114,400 was given in 10 fucking. How many days and hours since the Christian era commenced? 1811 years. Answered in 20 seconds. 661,015 days. 661,015 days. And 15,864,360 hours. How many seconds in 11 years? I can read this shit for real. How long am I in? Fuck it, I'm going to. Y'all gonna sit here and watch me do it too. And be just as amazed as me. How many seconds in 11 years? Answered in 4 fucking seconds. 300 million. 346 million. 346 million. 896,000. The what sum multiplied by itself would produce 998,001 in less than 4 seconds. 999. Oh, it's hurting my fucking head. All these numbers are hurting my head. How many hours in 38 years? 2. My head is actually hurting. My head's actually fucking hurting. How many hours in 58 years? 2 months and 7 days. In 6 seconds, he answered 334,488. At one time in London, he was requested to square 888,888. He gave correctly. 700 790,121,876,544. You see me fucking over up to you see me fumbling over these fucking numbers? And afterwards multiply this product by 49. Bro just made me a fucking vegetable, bro. Bro square rooted this, and then he multiplied 49 to this, which got this, and he squared that in at one time. He did that in one fucking time. This is just number wise. We don't know we don't know what else he was fucking a genius in, but numbers. At 8 years old, he was doing calculations like this in under 10 seconds. By 49, making, oh my god, this is hitting trillions. 30, 38 trillion, 715,971,950,656 being the square of 6,222,216. We're doing it. I'm sorry. This wasn't even supposed to be a fucking class, but other calculations. Since the author commenced writing this book, he has met with some gentlemen who saw him when quite a child, who have mentioned 3 circumstances of which of it ever existed he has no recollection. It was in relation to his personal appearance. When engaged in studies out of the answer to the question, that his body immediately assumed certain contortions, as if he were infected with what is called Saint Vincent's dance, which continued until he obtained the result. As he does not recollect that this circumstance has ever been mentioned to him by others during the period in question, he has not prepared to give any account on the cause of such apparent nervous affection. That was the case. He is not prepared to deny. He is not conscious of ever feeling such mental fatigue as should produce such corporeal distortion. Perhaps it may have been owing to nothing more than a mere childish emotions. He is at a loss to account for the silence of others in relation to this, as if actually proceeded from the nerves. He has also heard of another person who evinced an uncommon quickness in calculation somewhere in the neighborhood of Troy, New York, who on a question being proposed was strangely seized with every symptom of above named affection and continued in a volition and a violent exercise until the answer was attained. The inquiry has frequently been made whether the writer ever became acquainted with any other persons who were endowed with a gift of mental calculation similar to himself. He thinks not as to a extent of solution. While he was excited and sharing his public attention in London, the case of Jediah Baxton was often introduced. This man had been had then been dead a number of years. A farmer by occupation, poor and unlearned, he displayed an extraordinary power of carrying on arithmetical processes in his head. So these niggas watching this boy seizure and they're not questioning shit. Like, bro, full on, full on having a mental fucking a mental fucking mental a mental psyops and and they just watching this nigga do that shit. Like, what does it look like? Does it just look like going in the back of his head? That does it look like that? Like a nigga being possessed or some shit? Like, I have so many questions for reading that shit. I'm not gonna lie to you. I have so many questions that I can't even fucking form. What about they continue?
The questions answered by. But no one was really interested in the memoir of a 9-year-old, even someone as unusual as him.
I would be. I am.
They went to
Will I get it? Probably not.
Belfast and Edinburgh to see if there might be more interest. There wasn't. They also tested their luck in Paris.
Oh my god.
This was in 1814, shortly after Napoleon's initial fall from power,
Wow.
which restored trade relations between England and France. After showing off his son's skills for 3 months in Paris, they took a break, and Zira finally started attending school. Around this
He
time,
probably, bro, that can't teach him shit.
after 10, his computational speed had slowed noticeably. He took longer to answer questions than he had in the past.
My nigga, those questions are insane though. At 10 years old, he started slowing down, probably still getting them under 20 seconds. Like,
That his talent faded because he wasn't regularly demonstrating his skill in public. But at least he was in school. He studied at the prestigious Royal College of Henry IV in Paris, his education financed by the French government. However,
a 10-year-old boy getting his education financed by the government? What did they do? What the fuck did they do when he lost his ability? Kill him or some shit? Like, what? What? I'm curious about what the hell they did when he lost his genius. These niggas fucking paid for his school.
father struggled to cover the cost of the school uniform, $750 leave or $150. When he returned to London to try to raise more funds, he discovered that his agent had ripped him off, and a committee of people who had agreed to raise funds had lost interest, upset at the fact that Zira was being educated in France rather than in England. Abia took Zira out of the school in France and brought him back to London in early 1816. Hungry and poor, Abia approached the Earl of Bristol, desperate for help. The Earl wasn't all that interested in Zira's mathematical abilities, but he did want the boy to get a good education. So he decided to cover all his expenses at the renowned Westminster School in London, where Zira was
renowned. She said renowned. 10 years old going to a renowned school with no further education that he even knows of. Not even caring a fuck about the fact that he's a fucking mathematical genius.
But the school curriculum was
what the fuck am I reading?
Ancient languages like Latin rather than math.
Oh my god. Would I have rather learned Latin than math? Yes.
Might have helped him address his difficulties with complex thinking and problem solving. Although he had a knack for
wait, hold on.
Latin rather than math. A stronger focus on mathematics might have helped him address his difficulties with complex thinking and problem solving. Although he had a knack for speedy calculations, he struggled to get to answers that weren't immediately obvious. In light of this, he doubted that he had a future in
that handwriting was beautiful.
Contrary to the expectations of those around him. The Westminster
So he was 6 years old having expectations of fucking LeBron.
Also took a toll on his mental health. It had a tradition requiring younger students to act as personal servants to the older students. One day, an 18-year-old beat him up badly after he felt he wasn't serving him adequately. Abia wouldn't tolerate such behavior and ensured Zira was no longer expected to play such a subservient role in the...
Bro got beat for what? They beat this little nigga down for absolute what? Say that one more time.
Students act as personal servants to the older students. One day, an 18-year-old beat him up badly after he felt he was
Because I'm a
serving
bitch.
adequately.
Wow.
Wouldn't tolerate such behavior. And
Beating a
ensured
kid
Zero
because you're a
was no
bitch
longer
is
expected
crazy.
to play such a subservient role in the future. Zero was supposed to attend Westminster for 8 years, however, he got pulled out after 3 due to a dispute. The Earl of Bristol insisted that his chaplain, a Cambridge-educated former grammar school master, tutor Zero full-time in the countryside.
Oh my god, bro was getting sent to high-ranking fucking educational places. Like, what?
London, where Zero had been spending the summers. Abia refused, and as a result, the Earl withdrew his financial support, which led...
You fucking idiot. You are absolutely the worst thing that happened to this fucking kid. You fucked up his chance to get proper education after even having the same nigga finance his education that you even approved.
Zero leaving Westminster School. With no schooling, no funds, and now less interest in Zero in London, Abia wanted Zero to make a living as an actor. Zero was 15 years old and hated that period of his life, writing, "If there be any part of his life on which he is disposed to look with peculiar regret as wasted, it would be the year that was spent in preparing for the theatre." He preferred tragic roles over comedic ones, possibly reflecting his life circumstances. He struggled to get gigs and searched for more opportunities in Dublin, where he frequently walked down to the beach and, beholding vessels whose sails were filling to the breeze, bound for an American port, his heart would become sad and burned with desire to be on the way to his native land. Yet his father refused to return to America. He felt, however misguided, that better days lay ahead. Abia was perfectly confident that the hour drew near when he should return in a manner that would be honorable to himself. Zero
Meaning that he's gonna, when he's old enough, probably make enough money, he's gonna go back home.
Supporting himself financially, when the British polymath Thomas Young paid him £2 a week to make astronomical calculations determining the position of stars, a welcome change from showcasing...
Bro, 17, 15, making £2,000 just to calculate astronomically large numbers for the fucking space, how far we are from the moon, Saturn, Jupiter, and Pluto? What?
Math skills or acting. Just when things appeared as if they were finally taking a turn for the better, his father's health took a turn for the worse.
I would have said, fuck that nigga, I'm not gonna fucking lie.
23. Abia Colburn was not indeed a victim to hard labor of body, but to something more destructive of health, labor and care of mind. They'd been away from home for over a decade, with nothing to show for it. On February 14, 1824, Abia died of tuberculosis. He was 54 years old.
He lived pretty long.
He could have left his father and benefited from the support of others, but he couldn't bring himself to do it, fearing the regret he thought he'd feel. While on his deathbed, Abia told Zira it would be best for him to return home as soon as possible. On May 25, 1824, he set sail from Liverpool to America, returning to his mother and 4 brothers and 2 sisters whom he had not seen for 13 years.
Oh my god, that's literally some Vinland Saga shit. That's some real life Thorfinn shit. Leaving to get revenge for fucking 17 years. 17, if I'm not mistaken in time, but it was still over 15 if I'm not mistaken, because he was 6. He ended up being 21, under 25 by the time he went back home for the first time, and his fucking sister didn't even know who the fuck he was. Wow.
Resentment toward those who envied his worldly travels, writing, when sometimes he hears people wishing that they had his privilege of seeing the world.
They just don't
To
know
think
that.
of the price at which he purchased this privilege would suggest the idea that they little knew what it was
They knew
desire.
little for sure.
Throughout this time, his mother Elizabeth had toiled away on the family farm to support her children. It was a hard life, and she eventually had to sell the land and move to a more suitable place. Zero decided to settle in Vermont, where he taught French while also studying at the University of Vermont.
He taught French? He knew French?
It was around this time that a period of reflection led him to make a pivotal decision. Feeling a sense of purpose, he embarked on a journey as a Methodist preacher, traveling from town to town as he believed spreading the gospel was the highest calling, and in his words, the happiest, most useful, and honorable in the world. He felt his mathematical gift was a gift from above, writing, God was its author. Its object and aim, perhaps, are still unknown. He wondered if he was meant to make meaningful contributions to science. He wondered if his gift was intended to bring him into the public eye, enabling him to spread the word of God. Either way, by adulthood, his genius was all but gone. He no longer possessed the remarkable mathematical abilities that brought him so much adulation as a child. He lived a normal life and married Mary.
So it was literally dead ass. This is real life some anime shit. This nigga dead ass lost all his ability at a certain age. That is dead ass on some Charlotte shit. The anime Charlotte. That's dead ass on that. Having these abilities before you're like 18, 20, then you just lose them by the time you hit that age. Probably end up dying. I think when you hit that mark, if I'm not mistaken, in that anime. It's been probably 2-3 years since I've watched that anime. It's pretty good though. But what? He was literally just a prodigy. He couldn't exceed to becoming a full-time anything or a long-term prodigy in the world. I mean, he still is considered a prodigy because but it's like he was dead as only an adolescent prodigy.
Woman from Vermont, with whom he had 5 daughters and a son.
Damn.
After 9 years of serving as a preacher, he worked as a professor, not of mathematics, but of languages, at Norwich University in Northfield.
So he liked languages? Oh, that's tough as fuck.
He remained there until he died of tuberculosis on March 2nd.
I mean, his dad got it, so he was going to die of it too.
39, at the age of just 34. The same disease that took his father's life. Zero did manage to publish his memoirs after all, in which he reflected on his life's challenges, again writing,
Fuck, do I want to read this shit? Oh, I do, but we're alright, like 30 minutes in. Fuck, as much as I want to. Y'all can. It's on the screen if y'all want to read this shit. Go ahead.
His father paid dearly for the singular talent conferred on his son. Yet, in many
maybe if he was taught correctly and wasn't fucked over with trying to impress people and make money for his fucking dad, being a terrible fucking person, doing that, he probably would have still obtained his genius. Because that shit was practically wasted in a way. But he literally did nothing with that genius. Besides being a fucking circus show to niggas.
Himself who paid the price, as he was never given the opportunity to nurture his exceptional talent. I'd love to hear what you thought of this story. Let's connect on X. I'm at NewsThink. The link is in my description.
Damn.
It's heartbreaking to think about what
Did that say Cindy porn?
Oh. The link is in my description. It's heartbreaking to think about what Zero could have become if he had the right
support. That nigga could have been Einstein, nigga.
To nurture his talent.
Bro could have been fucking Einstein. Nigga, what?
World, we are fortunate to have access to a wealth of knowledge and tools to help us reach our full potential. One resource, which is free to try out, is Brilliant, a website and app where you can learn math, computer science,
oh shit, it's an ad. I'll let it rock down.
Mathematical thinking course will change the way you see numbers as you tackle real-world problems involving fractions, ratios, and percentages. Whether you're looking to brush up on your skills, learn something new, or progress to more advanced lessons, Brilliant customizes content to fit your needs so you can solve at your own pace. There are no tests. I like to take a few minutes out of my day to sharpen my analytical thinking skills with their logic puzzles.
I don't give a fuck about
So
that. I'm
invest
not
in your
gonna lie.
future and try it Brilliant for free.
I'm not
for 30 days
I'm not no
by heading to the
analytical
custom
nigga.
link in my description, brilliant.org/newsthing. And the
That's
first
helpful
200
unless you
people
want to
sign
go
up through
down
my
and do it
custom link
yourself.
will receive a 20%
That's mine.
discount on Brilliant's premium annual subscription, unlocking all of the courses. Thanks for watching. I'm Cindy
That was
Pong.
absolutely fucking beautiful. I'm not gonna lie to you. That was some shit right there, bro. That was some shit. I'm not gonna lie. Nah, that's crazy as fuck though. It wasn't truly honed, so it was. I didn't think you could lose genius. I didn't think you could fucking just lose genius. But at the same time, it wasn't honed to last. At the same time, they didn't teach him really nothing. When he went to school, he was already slower with the calculations. So I think that was the first sign of it actually eventually disappearing. And he started at 6, ended up becoming a fucking circus show to niggas. That's crazy, but I like that he got into languages. I would think languages are far better than mathematical equations. But we about to get off here. I'm gonna leave y'all with that. I'm gonna leave you with the thoughts that I just had in this video. I love y'all. I'm out of here. That shit's crazy. 31 minutes.